Welcome back, guys, and let me start with my deepest and sincerest apologies for delaying this review of the Gifted Season 2 mid-season finale for this long. It does seem like a staple of all the videos that I've been posting over the past couple of days. An apology in me telling you that I've been busy over the past couple of weeks. There's a lot I have to do when it comes to my job, end year closing and all. When you work in finance, it's not really easy during this time of the year. And there is as well the fact that no matter what you do, no matter how much you try to avoid it, real life is just gonna cut through your video making time, and you're gonna end up missing one here and one there. But as I always say on each one of these videos, it is better late than never. So without further ado, let's talk some Gifted Season 2 mid-season finale, as well as some predictions for the back half of the season. So number one, this is an opinion statement. The episode was not really the best so far that the Gifted has had to offer. There definitely has been better episodes on Season 2 so far, and of course the finale of Season 1 still stands to be the best episode of the series to date. But when it comes to this episode in specific, it was not really up to par when it comes to Easter eggs, for example. Usually, these episodes, season finales and mid-season finales, they're packed with those. But there was also the positive things. I mean, the episode did give us a few reveals, it did give us a little bit of a cliffhanger, I suppose. And these kind of things, the reveals along with the cliffhangers, kind of opens room for speculation and theorizing, which happens to be the thing that we enjoyed the most next to watching these series, and we usually do it more during breaks. Comic book movies and TV series viewers, myself included here, especially the ones that read the source material as well, they just love the theory crafting bit a little bit too much. But next up is number 2 and the core of the episode. JACE Turner has been slowly but steadily turning into full-on Purifier. He started off by not wanting violence, we don't want to be them and all of that good stuff, but ended up on this episode starting to shift in the bad direction, in the wrong direction. Now for one thing here, this kind of defies everything that I did think about JACE Turner. Even when he decided to contact the Purifiers, and even when he decided to join in with the Purifiers, his preaching kind of threw me off. Besides, I've always had this feeling that this guy kind of had a moral code, an intact moral code. I always thought he was principled. And yes, he was, but that kind of changed over time. He's kind of a little bit fluid and flexible now with the morals and the principles. But number 3 though, the origin stories continue. Rebecca's origin story is seen on this episode. She's betrayed by her parents, very comic book-like when it comes to parents, who don't really understand what's going on with their children. They start fearing what they don't know, and that's exactly what happened with Rebecca, and that is exactly what leads to the kind of thing that they did with her over there. They just end up being parents who betray their own children. But all of that kind of brings us to number 4. A parallel is drawn to Rebecca's origin story by Lorna. When she starts talking to her parents about Madeline Risman's plans, and she starts telling them if she reaches a positive result, if she actually secures that cure, parents, and probably out of fear, are going to be able to force end their children's mutations. The cure itself, though, is number 4, an Easter egg to both the comics and the movies. Right out of the comics, we've got the Hope Serum, which could be considered similar or even an equivalent to this one, and on X-Men The Last Stand, we've got the Mutant Cure. But number 5, Risman has been unbelievably sneaky, and that was pretty clear on episode 8 as well. I did mention it on my review. Think about it, it was pretty obvious she was lying. She's not really telling them the truth. That's not a friendly attitude towards people, that she seems like she's trying to convince that they're like her own family. But even the best do end up showing their true colors, and that's what she does close to the end of the episode, when she starts speaking of Andy and Noah like they are curses, like their existence is a curse, like they were both nothing. Even better, she starts sounding like a hater herself, the way she speaks of how Lorna should have never even been born. That is a typical hate group, style of conversation, and school of thought. But while we're still on the subject of Madeline Risman, number 6, we did get to hear a lot about Matthew Risman. That's another Easter egg on this episode. There's a certain repeated mention of Matthew Risman. His name is dropped a couple of times on this episode and once on the episode before. So I'm assuming over here that we're either going to see Matthew Risman on the second half of the season, he's going to be introduced then, or here is the prediction that I think might be more suitable for the situation. After what happened to her lab, Madeline Risman might go full-on Matthew Risman. Now, it is true that Matthew Risman does exist in the same universe that the series does exist in, but I just don't see him making an appearance this season, not in the second half of the season. Maybe if the series does get renewed for a season 3, because the Purifiers are probably going to end up being an ongoing villain. So instead, I think that after what happened to her labs, Madeline Risman is probably going to end up going full-on Purifier. She's going to be the show's version of Matthew Risman, just like she started off the show's version of Deborah Risman. But circling back to Rebecca, number 7, Rebecca's death was the most disappointing thing so far this season. The way they hyped Rebecca, as they introduced her this season, the mystery surrounding her appearance and her breakout, the entire Rebecca is gonna just turn the vault inside out part. The vault just felt like a huge mystery that's gonna pay off insanely, and then it amounted to really nothing when it comes to the audience. Yes, the money that was transferred and the information that they got was of importance to the inner circle, but it was really of no importance to us, the audience. The only good thing, though, about Rebecca's death, the end of her arc, is the fact that it did charge Andy in the end. The way that Reva Page used all of this to her advantage to turn Andy into the kind of person that we expect to see on the series, which is basically powerful with less whining and more work and willingness to use his powers to do what is needed, that was all pretty good. Number 8, Chaos is coming. The mutant land, the mutant nation is about to get built on the corpses of a lot of humans, because we do get to find what Regimen is. Now, Regimen is apparently the contractor that controls all the mutant control collars in all prisons, which ironically makes the breakout of Rebecca just a step on the road to breaking out an insane bunch of mutants. So as far as clear things go, we're going to be seeing a lot more mutants over the course of the second half of the season. But as far as predictions go, I think we're going to be seeing mutants right out of the comics. I do believe the reason they didn't introduce a mutant out of the comics when they decided to introduce Rebecca was actually because her arc on the series was not really that long. Why waste a character out of the comics on a very short arc when I do have an upcoming arc in which I could actually fit such a character and utilize them the best I can and as much as I can. But number 9 though, Lorna does carry 2 versions of the X gene, which is basically us getting closer to understanding the connection between the Strucker siblings, but there is definitely more than this to the discovery. Now, the discovery that people could develop 2 versions of the X gene is not really all that new, but instead in the comics they're actually pretty common. But besides secondary mutations being a comic book reference of sorts, number 10, all this talk about Lorna's secondary X gene does come with a reference to the Fenris twins. They do actually seem to be front and center with the Easter eggs this season, along with all the subtle references to Magneto being Lorna's father. But number 11, the secondary mutation of Lorna does indicate 1 or 2 things. Now, the first one of these 2 things happens to be that Lorna is gonna be turned into one hell of a badass over the course of the second half of the season. I think that she will slowly do that, turning into one of the most powerful mutants on the series. But there is also number 12, the second of these 2 things. Now, the first of these 2 things was not really a prediction, it's quite the no-brainer. But the second one really is the one that you could either put your money on or put your money against. I do think that Lorna is gonna have a dark phase. She's gonna realize the darkness within her, and it is all gonna be affected with Andy's darkness. So we've seen Andy in pain at the end of the mid-season finale. We've seen him react to this pain, and I think that Lorna is gonna get a whiff of that pain. Not only would she get to feel it due to the connection between her and her brother, but she will also act upon it at some point. So in a way, Andy is gonna kind of infect her, but let's not forget as well that she just witnessed on this finale firsthand the hatred of some humans towards mutants, and this one they actually trusted. This one was actually supposed to be like family. So yeah, she's got enough on her plate as well to kind of fuel that kind of darkness. But number 13, the episode ended on an extremely messy note. Madeline Risman's lab going down after she's made it clear she's yet another mutant hater. All those mutants released from all those prisons and facilities, ready to wreak havoc and be part of the mutant revolution, and of course that automatically eliminates any chances about peace between humans and mutants ever making sense again, John being captured by the Purifiers led by Turner, and finally Rebecca dying. But number 14, the mutant-human war that ensued close to the end of this episode, that is just the beginning of it. With the release of all those prisoners, it is gonna go significantly wider scale. But it all as well brings us memories of X-Men The Last Stand, and you could really feel the Last Stand inspiration over the course of this entire episode, including the Cure early on. Number 15, the episode was really about 3 things: fear, betrayal, and hatred. When it comes to fear, you've got Madeline Risman's fear of mutants, you've got Rebecca's parents' fears of Rebecca herself, and you've got Lauren's fear of parents betraying their kids. When it comes to hatred, you've got the Purifiers and you've got Madeline Risman, who ends up showing her true colors. You've also got the inner circle, the angry Andy at the very end, who's pretty angry. He's hating everyone who would even dare stand in the way of the upcoming mutant revolution. And finally, when it comes to betrayal, you've got Madeline Risman planning to betray every single mutant that trusted her, including Noah and Lauren Strucker. You've got Rebecca betrayed by her parents, and you've got Noah betraying Madeline Risman at the very end. Well, she should not have trusted someone that she hated so much and knew she was willing and able to tell them that she hates them to their face without any restraint or self-control when it comes to doing so. But finally though, number 16, one final prediction before I end this video. I think that Blink is gonna try to work her way to bringing back John, but after she does that, she is gonna try to leave the group, the Underground, and join up with the Morlocks. I believe she's actually gonna go from owing Urg a favor to actually believing in what he happens to be preaching. Because, well, if there is anything we did learn about how she feels on this latest episode, it is that she no longer believes the Underground is able to hold up its part, and she will probably end up finding that with the Morlocks. So based on that, I do think as well that the Morlocks at some point are gonna end up going to war with the Inner Circle, probably over the course of the second half of the season. But that though was my very last comment and my very last prediction, so you could let me know what you thought of this episode, what you think of the season so far, and what your favorite parts of this episode were, along with your predictions for the second half of the season. Now in all cases, and whether or not you plan on commenting on this video, you will have to scroll down. That is, of course, if you want to drop this video a like, subscribe, and enable notifications for my future videos, community posts, and live streams. Until the next time though you tune in for another one of my videos, thank you so much for tuning into this one, and have a great day.